Hi everyone, I'm Frederick here at Townsman in downtown Boston, and I'm here to describe for you the inspiration behind my entry in the 2015 G'Vine Perspectives competition, the Green Girder.
This fresh, verdant, and slightly savory cocktail is a love letter to the Rose Kennedy Greenway, which is a 1.5-mile linear park that snakes through downtown Boston and lands right at our back door at Townsman.
But it would take a serious change in perspective, courtesy of America's most famed architect, in order to inspire me to begin looking outside. That jolt of inspiration came last summer from a most unexpected place, Buffalo, New York, home to the Darwin D. Martin House, a residential masterpiece by Frank Lloyd Wright that was completed in 1907. Now, I had a passing familiarity with Wright as a workaholic and an egomaniac, but this was my first time seeing his work up close and personal. And as I spent hours exploring the grounds and touring the interior, I discovered a young, driven man who was reverent of nature and seemingly hell-bent on breaking down the barriers between the outdoors and the in. Whether it was the sweeping verandas that stretched out into the landscape, the hundreds of panes of intricate art glass that mimic natural patterns and hues, or the lush greenery of the conservatory, Wright ensured that at every turn, occupants of the home were always connected to the world just beyond their walls. And so, Wright inspired me to take on the challenge of creating one cocktail that could connect my guests to our adjacent park. It's time to make the Green Girder. We start with 1.5 ounces of G'Vine Floraison, a fresh and floral gin that's evocative of spring and new beginnings. Next comes celery. Holding aside the pretty stuff, we juice the stalks and put 1 ounce of fresh celery in every drink. But nothing goes to waste here. Even the celery pulp that comes out of the juicer gets dehydrated and smoked for a celery salt rim. Then we'll add 3/4 ounce of lime juice and lightly sweeten the cocktail with simple syrup and kumel, which is a liqueur flavored with caraway, cumin, and fennel. Lastly, we add some extra dimension with some vegetal smoke, courtesy of 1/4 ounce of mezcal, and also the bright pickling spice of Bitterman's celery shrub. We shake all of that with ice until it's well chilled and strain the drink over fresh rocks in a double old-fashioned glass that's been rimmed with our house-smoked celery salt. That's the same stuff that came out of the juicer that we dehydrated, smoked, and folded into 2 different types of salt. And lastly, we take our prettiest fresh sprig of celery leaves and garnish the drink. But you might be asking yourself, what's up with all the smoke and the salt? How could that have anything to do with this beautiful park?
And that's because Townsman's neighborhood used to be a lot less about this and a whole lot more about that behind me.
Behold the old Central Artery. This is what our greenway looked like 15 years ago, a perpetually congested, elevated interstate that severed the heart of our downtown. I created the Green Girder to wink at both the past and the present, to remind us that yesterday's eyesores are today's green shoots. And while I don't have tens of thousands of square feet or the ability to move load-bearing walls, Frank Lloyd Wright inspired me to become the architect of an experience that could connect our guests with the world just outside their doors.